So I was wondering why these were so mangled and destroyed. Apparently when they were sitting over there, my dad ran over one of them with his trailer. And I didn't know that, and he just told me he wanted to see if I'd notice. So, yeah.
What is that? What the is that?
Wow, this is garbage.
What? I love garbage.
So this is one of the fenders that came with that body. I'm not going to use it. It's got a ton of damage, and I don't really want fenders on my Roadster. But this will give me a nice something to work on to show you guys how to pull dents and try to make some of this old iron usable. I will show you how I do it, how I go about fixing old scrap, as other people would say. Plus, it'll give me more practice to get some skills, because that is pretty good there. The rule of thumb in bodywork, at least on newer cars, is first in, last out. So you don't just want to push it out from the middle. You want to work around it first so you don't stretch out the metal. It's similar with old steel. Old steel is thicker and better steel, so you can be more rough with it to get it back into the position it needs to be in. So I could beat on this steel a whole heck of a lot harder than I could, say, beat on this steel on the 74 Datsun. Like, there's dents in here. Yeah, I can work them out, but I need to be more gentle with this than this 1930 steel, which is a lot thicker and a lot better steel. So I haven't decided where I'm going to start working yet. I'm going to take a look. I'm probably going to start down here. Start getting all this shaped back to where it's supposed to be. There's actually a body line in here, if you can see that. So I'll need to try to bring that back. I'll need to bring all these dents out. Try to straighten some of this up so I can make a pattern to make hatches. Up here, obviously, it's bent in a lot, which made this crack and crease. So I have to get this straightened out back to where it's supposed to be, straighten all this up, and weld it from the inside. Tools I'll be using today: pick hammer, which is a body hammer. I call this one Tiny Tanya. This one's Little Tanya Harding. And I got a heel dolly, shaped like that, chunk of steel. I don't really know what this one's called, like an anvil dolly, I think, maybe. But you can either use this side or that side, and they're different round shapes. And you can use this here too. That's like the horn of the anvil, so you can use that. So those are my hand tools I'm going to be using today. I'm going to get to it. So to start up here, I'm just going to start with using my heel dolly and use this as a backer and hammer against the inside to try to get some of these bigger dents out. Securing your panel always makes it easier so it's not flopping around too crazy and jumping off your fender stand. So I just use bungees. It's always the best. You work how you're comfortable. Like if you're righty, hammer in your right hand, dolly in your left hand, or vice versa. With this project, I put my dolly in my left hand so it's easier to flip the fender upside down for me, so I can hold this against that and hammer on the back side of the fender here. And just like that, 5 minutes for me, probably 5 seconds, 10 seconds for you. You can see that whole dent is gone. I roughed in this body line down here. I got most of this round back in where it's supposed to be. This is called roughing it in. So pretty much I got the rough body line where it needs to be. I still need to move this way a little bit to match up with this line and crisp it up. The big dent is mostly gone, but you can see I still have these little dents here. So what I'll have to do is once I'm ready, I'm gonna flip it over, and then you can just start finessing these little guys back out and move this line little by little. So I went ahead and flipped my fender over. So now to work this line back out, I'm gonna go ahead and use my heel dolly, and then use this line right here and this line right here along this body line on the back side, while hammering lightly on the front side to bring this line back to where it's supposed to be. This is a pretty harsh deep line, so that tells me this needs to come out a little and this needs to go down a little. I don't know how much you can see on video, but if you see this line here where that dent used to be, you want to focus on that, because this is all still low right here. You want to focus on this, and with your dolly behind your fender, I'm using it round configuration now because this is like a rounded slope. So I'm holding this behind the fender like this. I am striking on the metal with my dolly as a backer and tapping the hammer with the flat side here and pulling it this way when I hit it. What that's doing is it's slowly, gradually flattening and coming this way and bringing all these areas up slowly and gently as it comes. So that'll bring this slope back to where it needs to be, and hopefully we won't stretch anything or crack anything in here. So just work slowly, pull it this way as you go. Now this particular spot, I can change to the anvil dolly, give myself more grip on it on the backside like this, and it still has this edge here I can use to make this edge. So I'm just running down like this, all in there, while tapping lightly and bringing all this metal back to where I need it to be. So while you're working on your panel, you want to pause now and then and run your hand up and down it and feel where it needs more help. Right now I can feel that this is high right here. You can kind of see along this line, it's high right here. So, or it could be low right here as well. That's where you have to make the judgment call. It is high right here because I can feel from here to here. This is bulged out from the work I've done. So what I can do for this is, once again, put my dolly behind it, follow the curvature of the fender, and I can go back and I can use the tip of my pick hammer and tap along there. What that does is that shrinks up the steel little by little, since this is stretched. So this little dent right here is being a little bit harder to get out, because you can see that body line is right here and it comes down. It kind of gets lost right here, and then it's super deep right here. And then I find it right back where it's supposed to be down here. So I'm trying to work this up to where it's supposed to be, work this up where it's supposed to be, and also bring this from here to up here, needs to be brought back into alignment with itself. I'm taking this shape up here where I know the body line is, and I'm trying to bring this down here as I go, because as this works this way, it's bringing this up with it. Old metal wants to go back to where it was stamped. So that's what's great about this stuff. You can keep working on it little by little and keep going. You can see how close we are to being good right here on this. It's still a little high right here, so I'll have to work on that some more. But once I get this body line in here and this curve in here, that would be usable for a rat rod, or if you got it sandblasted, that could be spread with mud. Obviously need
Squirrel!
it needs a lot of help to do either of those things, but that would be usable now once you get it sandblasted. Obviously bring that down a little bit more because it's high, but I can feel it right there, right there. So I'm going to keep working at this little by little, try to bring this line back to where it's going, and then I'll try to jump on this cavern here. So I got this lower part brought up like I said. So now this line goes from here all the way down right here. It does definitely still need to be straightened out. The line needs to be brought back to exactly where it needs to be. And this curve right here needs to be brought down in here. But the most of this dent is out. And now I need to figure out how the fender was really shaped up here, because I don't really know because this dent is here. So once I pull this dent out and probably that dent, I can start to bring this whole edge, the whole line, all the way down here. So how I got this out, it helps to be ambidextrous sometimes. So I was using my right hand to hold the dolly back here, right on the line, while I was using my left hand to hammer on the back side. The same with this way here. Right on the line, keeping the dolly up top and hammering down below. That's where it helps to know how long the throw on your hammer is. So you can just hammer by feel without looking. Also, you need to practice so you can feel where everything is. It helps if you're ambidextrous, but you don't have to be. If you're not, it's just going to feel a little bit more awkward sometimes when you have to reach around strangely to get your dolly where you need it. So I'm going to keep working my way up on the next few dents and keep going to try to get this whole fender back in shape. So now I'm going to start on this dent here. As you can see, it's pretty darn deep. I'm going to start from the back, I think, and just start working it this way. Just start working it this way, and then go from there and bring this same line that I had yesterday, bring that back to where it's supposed to be. I just heard from my dad that apparently this fender might be in this condition because he accidentally ran it over with his trailer. I know it had some dents and stuff before, but I'm assuming it wasn't this bad. So that's pretty roughed out in the back, pretty well roughed out in the back. You can still see where the creases were going across, but you're gonna have that. But it's roughed out in the back. This is what it looks like from the front. You can see there's a lot of dimples and stuff that I have to smooth out now. You can see where the big circle was right here from the dent all the way down here, and then the creases going across. So I do have a lot of finish work to do, but that's roughed out, the general shape. You can see this line a little bit now. So that's pretty much where it needs to be. If you look down the side of the fender, you can tell that everything's still tweaked a little bit. So I gotta get that pulled out this way, and this whole part of the fender needs to come that way to line up with the rest of it. So with this lip here, thankfully there's round rod in it all the way down. So bringing the shape back shouldn't be too hard. As you can see, that's out, this is in, that's out. So it's just a matter of fine tweaking until you get it all lined back up where it's supposed to be. So as you can see, I got that large dent out of there. You can still see the scarring right here. And then this was where the dent was. So I just worked that out. It's really roughed in right now. I have a lot of hammer and dolly work to do left on this here. But if you look up and down the line of the fender, it's mostly straight. It's not done, obviously, because you can see that's out, that's in up there. There, that's all crushed in. That's broken and cracked. This side is out, this side is in. Down there is okay, not terrible. But it's mostly in line now. But all the big dents are mostly taken care of. So now I'm going to go back and finish all the hammer and dolly work, try to smooth this section out like I smoothed out down there. So as you can see, this is where the fender sits right now. You can see where the new rust is down here, and down here, all the areas that I worked. This used to be a big dent here, that was a big dent down there. This was pushed in, it's mostly out now, needs a little bit more work right in here to smooth it out. I need to work this out a little bit more and then weld all this up. And then most of this down here is worked out, but it still needs some more smoothing. But it's come a really, really long way from where we started in just a few hours. If you look down here, it's mostly straight this way. There's a little whoop-de-doo right there that I gotta fix. And then a little bit of whoop down there where it's still crushed in right about here. But all in all, it's a lot straighter than it was. Now, this corner would have to come up all the way up, and the line would continue all the way down there for the mounting surface. Obviously, it's not there. I haven't decided if I'm going to fix it or not yet, because I'm probably not going to use these fenders. They might just be wall hangers, but I might fix it, I might not. But she looks pretty good for a few hours of hammer dolly work. Not too bad. Just need to weld it up a little bit.